Let's keep on moving though, you know? Just understand that the athlete thing, what I use from it is the work ethic, bro. The understanding that and just because putting extra work does not necessarily equate to making money doesn't mean you don't put in the extra work to get better. You still have to do that. Anytime my trading struggles right now, the answer is get to work for me. Okay? Work harder. Like dig into the data, dig into what I'm doing, dig into my losses, see why, you know? So that's that. Let's continue on. Would you like?
Yeah. Hey guys, I'm Jasmine. I've started trading during COVID. I started learning penny stocks, small caps, and I'm approaching 2 years now since I switched over to options. I love options in the 0 day to expiration contracts that have been around lately, and I've been trying to learn that. What I've been struggling with the most is me. I'm getting in the way of myself. I'm not trusting my own trading plan. I'm not trusting my own levels. I'm hesitating. I'm like watching it go where I want to enter and stuff, and I'm just watching it go without me throughout the rest of the day when I miss it a lot of the times. And I'm seeing like great big plays go on, and I'm just like, why am I not taking a stab? Like, why do I keep letting like my perfectionist side, like, and my fear hold me back when I have been doing this since like COVID era, and I know what I need to do, and I know like all the education and stuff. So it's just like, just basically me versus me, like the self-doubt, like battling that daily. Like, do you have any advice on that?
Yeah, I mean, it happens to me too. You know what I mean? It happens to me. Specifically, it happened to me coming out of 2022, where I had gone on a 6 months of the worst trading that I've had since 2016. Okay. The worst 6 months of my trading since I was a noob, you know? So bad at one point, I'm like, and I don't know. I was like, and I'm teaching. So it was a tough period of time. It was a really tough period of time. Super depressed. It was bad. Okay. Because, and I learned a lot. I learned a lot from that period of time. But the biggest thing for me is I lost my confidence. Okay. And some people don't even have confidence at all. So we need conviction and confidence to press buttons. Okay. But we can't build that confidence without pressing buttons. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know, um, a lot of times people need too much of a that perfectionism thing that I heard you mention can really work against you in trading. Trying to get it down to the perfect, everything needs to line up perfectly, and trading's not perfect. Almost none of the trades I take are just perfect setup, and like once in a while it hits me in the gut. I'm like, wow, that's nice. But sometimes when it's too perfect these days, especially with the listed plays we trade, I'm like, I'll start to kind of doubt it and stuff like that. Here's the main thing for me. The biggest fix for missing trades, if I'm missing trades, okay? Because it sounds like you're seeing entries, what you're looking for, and then you let fear get the best of you and you just don't do anything. And then it goes without you and you're like, damn, and then that for me, if I get into that cycle, that will lead me to taking other weird trades.
That happens to me because I'll miss that morning play, and
Mm-hmm.
then I'll chase something later
Yep.
because I'm so fixated on missing that 200,
Totally.
300% gain for the
Uh-huh.
day. Then I chase something else, and it's like not even a good entry and stuff at that point because I use so much mental capacity with that first idea, and I'm so like fixated on like
Right.
moving without me that I use so much energy on
Mm-hmm.
that one. And then when I go to enter the next trade, I'm not even like sticking to my
Totally.
trade because
Uh-huh.
I know I'm chasing like a rubbish trade
Right.
basically, and then I beat myself up for that, for missing the first one,
Yep.
and then also laying on
Oh,
another
I
layer
know.
of
I know what it is. Yep. We sit and look at charts and we miss plays long enough, we're going to find another. We'll find something to trade. We always find something. Those 0 day expirations are wild. They're like penny stocks, kind of wild. I've been kind of dabbling, and been paper trading them for about 2 weeks now. I haven't found any semblance of anything that's made actual sense to me yet, but we'll get there. My biggest thing is size down and press the buttons. Size down, okay? If I'm not confident and if I'm missing plays, and you only know you're missing plays because, and a missed play means I had an idea of an entry, I had risk, I had my reward, I planned out the trade in my head, the price action all did that, it went to the levels, I saw it, it was there, I didn't press any buttons. And next thing I know, it's gone, right? Back in the day, as I got better at trading, now when that happens, I don't act upon it. I just let it go without me, okay? And I will find the next one, okay? But if I find myself today, I missed a play of that nature. I miss plays every day, right? But of the nature that I planned the trade, I didn't take the trade, and I do it tomorrow, shit, again, well, the next day, I need to size down and press buttons if that setup occurs. Does that make sense? Size down to something minuscule, and then you'll realize, God, that didn't hurt at all being wrong or right. Could have made more. I was right. When I'm right on small size, it gives me confidence. Does that make sense? Yeah. It'll give you confidence. Like, it's not a lot of money. It may not be anything significant. Who cares? It is real trading. It's proof to yourself that you took an entry. The trade manifested in your direction. You executed your plan. That gives you confidence. You know what I mean? Cutting a loss where I'm supposed to cut, that gives me fucking confidence, man. Makes me happy. That's why I love cutting my losses, man. When it's time to cut, I know that, guess what? It's time to do my job right now. The rest of it, once I've taken the position, until we're buying or selling again, we're not really working. You know what I mean? We're not cashing the paycheck till we're selling. And that's there's so much power behind that. But what happens with me, usually two in a row if I get to, and I have little kind of flags that go off in my trading now over time with this thing of trying to adapt, trying to extend my gains, but also, hit the gas when I need to or slam on the brake pedal when I need to, all of that good stuff. That's fine. Usually what happens to me is I'll go from heavy trading and then momentum will shift and I'll kind of sit on my hands for a while. That to me, there comes a point where I'm not supposed to be sitting on my hands anymore. I've been safe enough for the week or for the day or 2 days or whatever that time may be. But there comes a point where I will start to miss plays by sitting on my hands. Does that make sense? Yeah. Like I was doing the right thing by sitting on my hands. The markets are telling me that, but now there's runners again and I'm missing plays. When that's the case, the mantra for me and trading for me, psychology is just a series of mantras, really at the end of the day. One or two things at a time. How are you going to fix everything? We can't. In any aspect of life, you can't fix everything at once. So for me, it's always, what's the most glaring issue? What's losing me the most money? What's causing me the most emotional distress today? And let's deal with those kind of things, right? So for the size, that mantra is size down, press buttons. Size down. And when I say size down, I'm talking about the smallest risk you could ever imagine. One contract, like whatever, right? And that to me is where it's at. I find every time I do that, because you'll dip your toes in like that and it'll give you more feedback than if you're not trading. Do you know what I'm saying? And then, like I said, all I need to do is see a trade manifest. It gives me more confidence. And then tomorrow, same setup. I've gone from having your issue right now, 2022. I said, and we did this during a trader therapy, just like this. Okay. We did a trader therapy just like this. And I confessed, I've been struggling so much with my trading, guys. Like the markets have sucked all year. This is last year. Last year, pretty much. Okay. Literally 1 year ago today, I was like in the worst point of my trading since 2000, since I was a noob. Okay. And it's like, I don't even, I lost the ability to trade small size at all. I lost the ability to remember, hey, I don't have to only make $1,000 a trade. I can make $100. I can make $200 a trade. That's a good amount of money, right? You forget that. Put $500 here. That's a good amount of money. But for the life of me, for the first half of 2022, I couldn't accept $500 gains after the year prior to that. It was 10-figure days every day. Not 10 figures. That'd be cool. Like 4 or 5-figure days every single day. Right? So that was a tough adjustment. But when I say size down, for me, that meant going from risking 500, 1,000, 2,000 on a trade to risking like $50, $100 to make 2 or 3, $400, like very, very small amounts. And then I found that gave me confidence. And within a couple of days, I was back up to full size. The markets have shifted a little bit, but I was like, yeah, I was just like, it just built confidence. I don't know how to explain it. And it coincided with if you go back to October and the markets, okay, go back to SPY. Those of you at home, by the way, go back to SPY, the Qs right now last year, okay? Sometimes markets suck and there's nothing you can do about it. That was the biggest lesson of 2022 for me. 2 lessons. I needed to size way down way earlier. This is a tool I use all the time now, okay? I go from big size to not trading at all, and then that's the cycle for me. Big size, take a bigger loss because and then I think maybe it's done, and I sit on my hands for that pattern until I see it again. Usually I'll see the pattern a couple times, and I have to coax myself at times to but once you go through the cycle of sizing down, protect yourself, slam on the brakes, and then when market conditions and when your patterns and all that stuff become favorable again, slam on the gas. Press on the accelerator, exponentially grow during those times, preserve your capital during the rest of the time. That's literally the cycle that works, okay? But for me, it is that size down and press buttons. It works really well, okay? Because you got to build the confidence. Yeah.
Is the reason that you don't take the position because you think that it's a bad entry, or it's a bad setup, or because you're just scared to lose? Yes, this is exactly what I had. I missed a lot of trades. When I look at the level 2, I'm like, this is the entry. I have my mouse at the button. I just don't click. And when one of my friends told me, just don't care about the outcome, because the trade, this is it. If you take it, you're gonna lose. Okay, but I would rather take a good trade, and lose than not take it and then see it work. That's the worst feeling. When you enter and it works exactly like you're like, why am I not in right now? And then the worst thing happens, like as a short sell, I then short the backside. And when you short the backside, you cannot risk the right risk because it's gonna be stupid risk reward. And then I take the cut, and I'm like, so did I just doubt myself and it was a good entry, but I didn't care about losing when it was a bad entry? This makes no sense. Like I'm just like ready to take the loss on the backside with a stupid entry, while I was scared to take a good entry. So every time that happens, and then I lose a lot on the backside, and then it works because every pattern is not just gonna go all the way down. It's gonna have a bounce and go down. But since I cannot risk the correct level, I'm gonna just chop myself up and then take like a 2-3 losses, and then it's gonna work just like I knew it was gonna work. Yeah. That happened so many times. And then this week, when I was at the sex conference, there was a signal. I just shorted. I didn't even think. Yeah. And both of them happened to work. But even if they didn't work, I don't care because that's my playbook. I just play whatever I know I'm gonna play. So that's literally happened like this week. Like last week I had those moments. Yeah. So when you were saying, it's exactly like what I've been going through. And it's just all like mindset. You just have to accept the loss if it comes. And yeah.
Trying to tell myself too, like every day with my husband, I try to tell myself, okay, like I'm always like, if I take the trade, it's either a small loss, break even, or the gain that I love, like that I'm so happy for. So that's it. Like I just really have to accept and detach from the outcome. That's just it. Yeah, like what you were saying, it's your 1,000 trades, not that one trade. That's also another thing I have to focus on, because sometimes I get so fixated on the intraday trades, and I have to remember that, hey, it's not just about today, it's about the next, whatever days, unlimited days after, so thank you so much.
Again, a lot of the shit we deal with is because we get so hung up in the moment on things. We take everything way too seriously. You know, the only thing I need to take really, really seriously is cutting my losses, guys. That's the one. If I can just literally control my downside, that's the one place. That is the one thing that I need to do without questioning it at all. Okay. Am I perfect? Nah, definitely not. You know, y'all saw me with like V-Ray Q, hold a bag and take, I mean, my plan was to average down to almost zero, and I did. So I technically stuck to my plan, I guess, whatever. But I mean those like big uncontrollable losses where it was not in the plan, and then you're just in a trade that's out of control. So 100%. That is the game. The beauty, listen, right downstairs, we could go gamble right now, right? We were doing that yesterday. We could go play some blackjack. We could go play roulette or whatever. All those games, we're going to give them, if I want to make 25, I got to give them $25. It's 1-1. And not only that, probabilities are not even on my side anyways. So it's a losing game no matter what. The house always wins for the most part. That's the whole point of that. The point of trading to me is that I can risk a penny to make $1 a share if I want. Okay? I can get $100 on my trade if I want. You know what I mean? I can also risk $1,000 on a trade to make 10 or to make 5 or make 4. And I could cut it when I'm down $200. That's the other thing. You know, it'd be like, it's kind of like insurance when when the dealer in blackjack pulls an ace. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that. So you do kind of have an out there, but it's way more powerful in trading because it's at any point, anytime I feel something wrong or something tells me I'm wrong or whatever, you can mitigate your trade. You can mitigate risk all the time. The second I sell and I'm in the green and I take some shares off, I've mitigated risk. If I'm wrong, there are times if I have too much size where I'll take shares off and mitigate risk that way, even if I'm green on a trade. Does that make sense? But it hasn't broken my risk, but I feel kind of some sort of way where I'm not comfortable sitting around very much longer with that kind of size. I don't have to. Right then and there, I can size down and mitigate risk. Okay. So when I'm trading and we have our price targets, I have my first price target, second price target, third price target. It's all about mitigating risk. The first sell gets me to break even, hopefully on the trade, or turns it into a green trade no matter what, right? So a lot of the trading for me also comes down to that. Let's put ourselves in really advantageous positions throughout our trading, okay? And if you combine that with good risk reward, cut losses quickly, size down, press buttons, have the right perspective. When stuff's hot, slam on the gas, you know, press the gas. When things slow down, slam on the brake pedals. That's the other thing. I mean, I can be in the midst of a winning streak and I have the power to not trade tomorrow if I want. I can literally, it's up to you. It's such a beautiful thing. And then you realize, God, you guys, if you're losing money, it's because you're pressing the buttons in the wrong places. You're pressing the wrong buttons in the wrong places. This is for you, by the way, guys. There you go. There you go. Size down, press buttons. Yes. So every psychological malady that I've had as a trader has been solved by a sticky note. I'm serious. Because the biggest part of fixing our psychology is consciousness. Is thinking about it. If we're not thinking about things, we just are prey to habits. Our normal patterns of thought. The whole goal here and the whole point of these little boot camps and the trader therapy on Fridays that we do is to break these patterns for you. Is to help recognition. You have to be able to recognize. And then hopefully, and you're not alone. If you're new, every single one of us has gone through everything you felt over the last 6 months and has done almost everything you've done, I bet. Okay. You sound a little wild. You've blown a few accounts. So maybe not all of us are, to the same extent, but we've all felt everything. We've all gone, we're all still going through it. A lot of us. Okay. But, yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Once you realize how much control you have, and the fact that if you can actually make the math work for you, the law of large numbers, the next 1,000 trades, you can put a process in place, cut losses all the time quickly. That's a good trade. Um, it's just a good trajectory that you'll be on. That's all. It's a good trajectory. And you'll have more understanding, for me, peace with what I'm doing instead of so much doubt all the time, you know? We need a system. You need a process of trading. You need a process of stock selection, you know? And you need a process of understanding which strategies are in and out of play at any given time. And when it's not working, we need a process to get ourselves out of shitty trading too. You know what I mean? If we're not pulling the trigger and we're supposed to, we need a process to fucking get us pressing buttons again. If we're being too aggressive and we're in the midst of a drawdown because last week we had an amazing week and we wanted to size up, and this week we took a big L and now we're revenge trading, trying to make back last week's gains. We need a system to get out of that. And it's all, and for psychologically, it's mostly consciousness for me. So for example, the first thing that happened when I got over PDT was over trading. All right. Naturally. Right. I'm like, oh my God, I can cut wherever I want and re-enter. Wow. You know, it's a revelation. Freedom, true freedom. I really struggled with that at first because what I was doing, unbeknownst to me, but I was getting my good first screen day entries, getting good risk reward on the first part of my trade. I'd sell it all. Good trade, right? But then it kept going up. And I could not handle that for a little while, especially once I got over PDT. Before I was over PDT, I didn't really re-enter too much because I'm like, that was a great trade. I only have one or one of three or whatever it is. But after, I called it double dipping. That's what I called it, because I would buy, say I'd buy a buck, I'd sell maybe $1.40. I make 40%. Okay. Well, I'd buy like $1.50 and then I'd sell like $1.30. So I was, and what I didn't realize at the time, and that $1.50 might've been like by pre-market highs or whatever it may be, but I was getting a great risk reward on my first trade and shitty inverse risk reward on the second trade and giving back gains. So I had a sticky note on my computer for like 3 weeks, I think, that said no double dipping. It's the only one. I just wrote out no double dipping. You can hardly get me to do that today. That's how ingrained that became for me. You know, I have to tell myself at times, so especially trading lows when we're buying reversals, there are times where I get stopped out because I'm supposed to be stopped out if it goes through lows. I had to change my process and kind of get away from that mantra to be able to start trading the traps. Does that make sense? A lot of times where I'm trading, the levels I trade at, when they break down, they may be trapping in the morning, you know, or in the afternoon. I'm watching for these levels to break down. And then you see them hold immediately. That's the last bit of shorts that are like, it's like a kind of a palpable thing, I guess you could say. Is there a time where you're watching and you're being really, really patient, where you see maybe lows crack and then lows and then lows, and then you see that wick where you're like, that might be the bottom? Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. 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 Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Because you don't want to though, but right. Yep. It's beautiful. So, and this is what you guys have to understand. That's the other side of the trade. There's someone when you're long, when you need to buy, he needs to buy too. The second he short sells, he's a buyer. He becomes a buyer, you know? And that's what creates kind of those afternoon grinds back up towards VWAP and stuff like that. A bunch of stubborn ass shorts, you know?